Subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon to never miss an update from Kautilya's Fincast.
Welcome to Kautilya's Fincast for January 16 to 31, 2021.
Let's begin with corporate news.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced a seed fund for startups, as part of which the government will give 1,000 crore to new entrepreneurs. The Startup India initiative was launched 5 years back. Wipro said it has completed its 9,500 crore share buyback program. The buyback saw Azim Premji-affiliated entities tendering 22.89 crore shares worth about 9,156 crore during the process. Amazon is facing a new lawsuit alleging that Amazon charges higher prices on e-books. Publishers pay high commissions and other costs to Amazon, which in turn increases the retail price of e-books sold on the platform. Fintech company BharatPe has raised 139 crore in debt from venture debt firm Kautilya Capital and ICICI Bank that will be used to strengthen its lending business and provide credit to merchants. Reliance Retail Limited plans to embed its e-commerce app, JioMart, into WhatsApp within 6 months, allowing the 400 million users to order products without having to leave the app. Private equity firm Kautilya Capital said it has invested close to 90 crore in payments and alternative lending platform BharatPe as part of a Rs 250 crore fundraising round. Dunzo, a hyperlocal delivery startup, has raised a fresh round of about 292.7 crore in capital from a clutch of investors, including Google and Lightbox, Evolvance, for now financial investment, and Ultaria. Paytm Payments Bank Limited announced its partnership with Suryodaya Small Finance Bank to facilitate fixed deposit services to its account holders. The Payments Bank has already been offering FD service, in collaboration with IndusInd Bank. The Competition Commission of India approved the 1,500 crore Flipkart and Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail Limited deal. Flipkart will work with Aditya Birla Fashion for sales and distribution of its brands. South Korea's LG Electronics is considering all options for its loss-making mobile division, which analysts said could include shutting its smartphone business or selling off parts of the unit. In a setback to Amazon Inc., the Securities and Exchange Board of India granted approval to the Future Group and Reliance Retail deal. Piramal Group is set to delist the shares of DHFL. The proposed plan is expected to lead to major losses for DHFL stockholders, as it does not envisage any offer to buy out the shares held by these investors. State-owned power giant NTPC will raise 2,500 crore through issuance of non-convertible bonds via private placement. The proceeds will be utilized for funding capital expenditure, refinancing of existing loans and other general corporate purposes. Aditya Birla Group's flagship company Grasim has approved an initial infusion of 5,000 crore over 3 years to enter the paint segment. Samsung Electronics Company is considering an investment of as much as $17 billion to build a chip-making factory in Arizona, Texas or New York. Indian billionaire Mukesh Ambani doubled down on his promise to offer 5G services on his wireless network as early as this year, as his conglomerate Reliance Industries Limited reported a record profit aided by its consumer businesses. Billionaire Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Industries Limited has completed spin-off of the firm's oil-to-chemical business into a new unit that will help it pursue growth opportunities with strategic partnerships. We need to take advantage of our global scale, but continue to stay locally relevant, because we are seeing changes in consumer preferences. We need to make sure we are able to pivot in line with customer expectations, Sandeep Kataria said. HSBC Holdings CEO is set to be grilled by British lawmakers about the lender's moves to freeze accounts of activists in Hong Kong. Political tensions buffeting Europe's largest bank, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, the nation's top oil firm, has raised 1,290.20 crore in debt to refinance existing borrowings and meet business expenses. SoftBank-backed Grofers expects to achieve 10,000 crore in gross merchandise value by March, supported by attraction of around 50 lakh customers during its ongoing sale. Contract manufacturer Dixon Technologies India Limited, Monday said its subsidiary Paget Electronics has signed an agreement to manufacture Nokia smartphones at its plant in Noida, Uttar Pradesh. Adani Ports and Special Economic Zone has signed an agreement with the Gujarat state government to explore possibilities of developing a dedicated air cargo complex and multimodal logistics park. S&P Global Ratings has said, Vedanta Resources' increased ownership in Vedanta Limited will support the company's ability to meet its debt maturities over the next 12 to 18 months. Larsen & Toubro on Thursday flagged off 3 LC-Max reactors, weighing 2,313 tons each, to Hindustan Petroleum Company Limited's Vaisak refinery. Consumer DNA testing company 23andMe Incorporation is in talks to go public through a roughly $4 billion deal with VG Acquisition Corporation, a special-purpose acquisition company. AMC Entertainment Holdings Incorporation is considering raising money by selling more stock, capitalizing on the unprecedented run-up in its shares this week, according to people familiar with the matter. Capital markets regulator, SEBI, on Friday tweaked the monthly cumulative reporting format, whereby asset management companies will have to disclose about creation of segregated portfolios. India's largest real estate firm has appointed consultants as it prepares for a real estate investment trust that could provide a significant leg up to the country's emerging REIT market. Happiest Minds Technologies Limited will acquire US-based Pimcore Global Services for $8.25 million, which is about INR 60 crore. Jaguar Land Rover owner Tata Motors is concerned by semiconductor shortages and Brexit-related supply disruptions as its luxury car sales recover. In China's popular online streaming industry, virtual gift giving is big. You can send your favorite live performer anything, from a rose for 5 yuan to a space rocket for 500 yuan.
Let's begin with market news.
Passenger vehicle and tractor sales stood out while rural growth remained healthy. That should see the auto sector post revenue growth in the mid-teens. The sector faces headwinds in the form of higher input costs due to the sharp increase in steel prices. Piramal's offer is almost 60% lower than the size of DHFL's balance sheet, say analysts. Creditors may expect to be compensated for the hit from fraudulent transactions by DHFL, with Republicans appearing to have a good chance to maintain control of the Senate following the November 3 election. Financial executives had hoped Biden would pursue more moderate picks, planned to nominate 2 consumer champions to lead top financial agencies. Asian markets were mostly higher on Wednesday, after Wall Street indices rose on the back of U.S. Treasury Secretary nominee Janet Yellen's push for a sizable fiscal relief package in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Markets regulator, SEBI today extended relaxations for companies with regards to compliance with procedural norms pertaining to rights issues opening till March 31 amid the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Provisions to help troublesome LIBOR-linked contracts switch to replacement rates are contained in Cuomo's state budget plan. Bankers, investors and regulators see such proposals as crucial to ensuring that a large swath of the global financial system isn't disrupted. Panasonic's shares rose as much 5.5% in Tokyo on Thursday, after the company announced that it had developed containers that can be used to transport vaccines at temperatures of -70 degrees Celsius. The brokerage adds that Bandhan Bank has been building provisioning buffers on the back of its strong operating profitability to absorb asset quality accidents and reduce earnings volatility. Despite improvements, retail new business premium shrank by a small 3% for the 9-month ended December period. Low growth now affects profitability tomorrow for life insurers. Reflecting strong momentum, India witnessed 19 IPOs worth $1.84 billion in the fourth quarter of 2020, and market sentiment remains positive in what could be a stellar 2021. RIL's standalone EBITDA fell as much as 33% year-on-year. Drop in consolidated profit was contained at 5%. The company's gross refining margin continued to be substantially lower on a year-on-year basis. Kotak Mahindra Bank's valuations are buttressed by its pristine asset quality compared with rivals. But its stock has come under pressure after it warned about the pandemic's hit on the balance sheet. The rising commodity prices continue to pose challenges. The company hiked the price between 6% and 8% in January to pass on input cost pressure. even as the sequential recovery in revenues is encouraging. V-Mart's December quarter revenues are still about 16% lower compared to the same period last year. As such, some analysts are disappointed with the company's results. Although the L&T's management has positive outlook, it refrained from giving any guidance for fiscal year 2021. That said, investors should note that L&T's 5-year strategic plan, Lakshya, ends in financial year 21. This will be the first time a state-owned entity is monetizing its infrastructure assets through the INVIT route. The INVIT will initially comprise of 11 power transmission lines currently owned and operated by Power Grid. Improved product mix and better efficiencies helped the steelmaker record standalone EBITDA at 3,908 rupees crore, that grew almost threefolds compared to the year-ago quarter and was up 61% sequentially. The pan-European Stoxx 600 fell 1.9%, turning negative for the year. European stocks that were highly bid in the wake of an online retail trading frenzy, like Ambu, Evotech, and Unibile, reversed some of the previous session's strong gains. The stock has advanced more than 1,700% this year, fueling a rally in retail trading across the board, leading some short sellers to throw in the towel. The management acknowledged that some costs related to office travel and salary hikes could come back. However, the management feels maintaining EBIT margin at around 15% seems feasible. This is the second consecutive quarter of double-digit volume growth for Darbar, with the measure at 16.8% in the September quarter. This was driven by the healthcare segment, which increased robustly by 28%. Current traffic is in the visiting friend and relatives category, which is price sensitive. Hence, yields are unlikely to increase. The price inelastic demand is usually with business travel, which is absent currently, says the brokerage. A private equity firm that owns a chunk of AMC Entertainment Holdings Inc.'s bonds of $600 million is converting them into equity, following a remarkable rally in the cinema giant's stock. Both JLR and Tata Motors standalone margins in Q3 were better than expected. Subsidiary Jaguar Land Rover's EBITDA margin for the December quarter stood at 15.8%. A hellish week for hedge funds will be remembered for how much damage Reddit traders caused by chasing a handful of the most shorted names in the $43 trillion US stock market.
Let's begin with economy news.
Indian economy is likely to rebound with an 8.9% growth in the fiscal year beginning April 2021. After economic activity showed significant improvement in the last quarters, the funds would be used to step up highway construction. The ministry allocated 91,823 crore for financial year 2021, which was later revised to 1.02 trillion rupees as MoRTH and its wings. While pandemic pummeled tax collection across the board, excise duty mop-up jumped 48% in current fiscal, on the back of a record increase in taxes on petrol and diesel. The centre's flagship program on urban power reforms, under system strengthening, which entails construction of last-mile power supply infrastructure, the physical progress is 86% in the regions. This implies the government is set to deviate from the long-standing medium-term target of 2.5 to 3% of GDP, as prescribed by amendments to the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Acts. The online gaming industry urged the government to set up a self-regulatory body to standardize regulations for the entire online skill gaming sectors, and not just fantasy sports industry. The Tamil Nadu Finance Minister urged the Union Finance Ministry to take more initiatives, not just to support the states, but to ensure a sustained revival of the economy. The centre is planning to create special window for strategic investors, such as sovereign wealth funds and pension funds, that wish to invest over 3,000 crore through single transaction. India is considering revising its foreign investment rules for e-commerce, 3 sources and a government spokesman told Reuters, a move that could compel players, including Amazon.com. The ongoing key reforms in manufacturing, easier labor laws and privatization help improve productivity and support long-term growth at 7.5 to 8% will contribute 15% of India's global GDP growth by FY 2026. The government will sell its entire 26.12% stake for 8,400 crores in Tata Communications Limited, erstwhile VSNL, through offer for sale and strategic sale route in the current fiscal. With this, the state's aggregate gross fiscal deficit will not only get expanded to an all-time high of 8.7 trillion rupees, or 4.7% of gross state domestic products. Consumers durables manufacturers, with recent surge in raw material cost and falling demand, have asked Finance Minister for budgetary measures that will reduce cost pressures and improve purchasing powers. Data shows the country continues to remain a major destination of foreign exchange earnings for India. Exports to the US account for 15 to 17% of India's merchandise outbound in shipments. Aditya Birla Sun Life PF has given highest one-year return of 18.66% under Scheme E of EMPS Tier 2 account, followed by HDFC PF, 18.64%, and ICICI Prudential, 17.92%. NPS is low cost, allows exposure to equity, up to 75% of the corpus, and is reasonably tax efficient. NPS was open to the private sector in 2009. The regulator issued discussion papers, with proposals for ownership in stock exchanges, that are revolutionary by SEBI's standards. The paper envisages 100% ownership by a single entity in an exchange. Unlike traditional auto insurance policy, the policyholders will be able to customize their premiums to pay-as-you-drive motor insurance policies. Edelweiss switch on Tata AIG Auto Safe. India is likely to double health spending in next fiscal year, with aim of raising expenditure in the sector to 4% of gross domestic output in coming 4 years. Changes in income tax slabs, extension of leave travel concession scheme, enhanced rebate for health insurance and housing loan payments. One of the budget measures being considered, provide relief to individual taxpayers. The IMF projected an impressive 11.5% growth rate for India in 2021, making the country the only major economy of the world to register a double-digit growth amidst pandemic. The demand for PPE, computers, and everything else helped power China's economic recovery in 2020, and position the country to continue its strong growth into 2021. There is hardly any scheme or initiative which has been launched without the dignitaries emphasizing on the number of jobs that will be created as a result of it. The business sector in India contributes much less to a gross expenditure on R&D, at just about 37%, when compared to businesses in each of the top 10 economies. Government sees financial year 2022 GDP growth at 11%, and nominal GDP at 15.4%. This would mark strongest growth since India liberalized its economy, and highest nominal growth since India's independence. The survey has underlined the need to focus on reducing variations in the access to bare necessities across states, between rural and urban areas, and between the income groups. Roads are one of government's top capital spending areas, as they have a high positive multiplier effect on other economic activities. The pandemic slowed the pace of roads building. GST revenues during January 2021 are the highest since the introduction of GST, and have almost touched the 1.2 lakh crore mark, exceeding last month's record collection of 1.15 lakh crore. Public sector fuel retailers have 90% market share, show diesel sales dropping 4% and petrol 2.3% in January from a month earlier, when consumption posted gains of 1.8% and 1.4%.